Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we've got another fun show today. We're just finding out so much history on our county and our towns.
There's so much out there. I mean, every time we kind of get into our research, we're like, well, here's another 20 stories we can do. Here's another 20 stories. I mean, it just never ends. Every single person that's ever lived here has a story.
Absolutely.
And the guy we're going to talk about today has a really fantastic story.
Yeah, we're going to focus a little bit on Louisville today.
Yes, we are.
A governor.
Yeah.
The Illinois governor that lived. It wasn't actually from Louisville, but lived in Louisville when he became governor and that type of thing. It's a lot of it was an interesting story. I didn't really know that. It's amazing the fun things we're talking about. We're going to talk about Governor Tanner today. So
yes, we are.
That's going to be fun. And I don't know. We're just kind of finishing up. This will be our last of our February episodes, maybe.
I think Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, because I think this one's going to air right before Valentine's Day.
I think it does.
So that's exciting. And
Happy Valentine's Day. Everybody will be.
Yes.
But it's also your birthday.
Yes.
Your birthday is coming up.
My birthday is February 10th. And well wishes can be sent to, by the way, with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com. Or like and follow us on Facebook.
That's right.
So, February is just going to go by so fast because
I don't know.
I know I say that all the time. It's because my mind is blown how fast the months are going by.
Yeah, time goes by way too fast anymore.
It definitely
Well, it's just I've already told Jim, we took a trip in a week in January, and I've already told him I'm leaving every January for a week from here on out. That's just how it's going to be. And January just flew. Because I was like, because it's time to start working on the Nostalgia Theater show. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be starting practice in like a week or two. I better get this thing. I've got to get busy on that. But I'm telling you, it just, I don't know where time goes. I remember when January would just creep by. But it wasn't we didn't get snowed in. We didn't get any. And I think winter's over. I don't think we're going to have any more.
That's what Punxsutawney Phil said. Is that how you say it? He said spring will be early this year.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. We should have done a show on that. I do not know.
That's the weirdest thing. Don't you think?
Who started that? Who's like, I'm going to hold this groundhog up and see if he sees a shadow. That ought to be fun.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Who does that?
I don't know. I think it's an odd thing.
I think it's
Why
an odd
would
thing
that
too.
even?
I don't think it holds any water either.
Oh, it does, and I don't think so either. But I am glad. But usually he always sees his. Wait a minute. If he sees his shadow, it's going to be more.
If he doesn't see a shadow, it's more winter. But if he does see its shadow, and I always thought it was weird because it was like, and I'm probably wrong, but I thought it was explained to me like, if he doesn't see a shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. And if he does see a shadow, it's like, spring will be here in 6 weeks. Well,
now, see, I thought it was just the opposite.
Same thing?
Yeah.
No? I mean, either way, the weather's going to change in 6 weeks. Like, I don't know.
See, I always thought it was opposite. If he saw his shadow, we had more winter. And if he didn't see his shadow.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
what does the groundhog do? Go,
ooh, I'm so scared.
I saw my shadow. I mean, it's the weirdest. But boy, it's a big deal. That one guy's all dressed up in his top hat and all that stuff. And
well, you know what?
It's weird.
Clay County, we need to think of something like that because whoever these people were in Pennsylvania, they had a very good money-making idea for their small community town. Because name somebody in America that has never heard of Groundhog Day or Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. I mean, good grief! That we're always talking about tourism. What can we do to get people to Clay County? We need to pick a rodent and we need to associate it with some kind of weird phenomenon and make money off of it. There we go. There's our plan.
That's it. I
just solved our problems. Okay, Ty, what did you figure out?
If he sees his shadow,
If he sees his shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see the shadow, it's an early spring.
In 6 weeks.
If he doesn't see his shadow, it's an early spring, probably in 6 weeks.
Yeah. So, okay. So,
either way, the weather changes in 6 weeks. So
yeah. If he sees his shadow, so he didn't see his shadow.
No.
I wonder.
I thought he did.
No,
maybe
if he sees
it's so confusing.
If he sees his shadow, more winter.
Okay.
When he doesn't see his shadow, spring's coming.
Okay.
How many little groundhogs have we gone through? And do they stuff them and keep these groundhogs?
Gosh, probably not.
I don't know, but I think because how many Groundhog Day? I mean, when did Groundhog Day start? It's
1886 is when
18
Groundhog Day started, you guys.
So there's been a new groundhog. I mean, how many groundhogs have they gone through?
I don't know, a lot.
According to
They,
Wikipedia,
Okay.
there has only been one Phil. He has an elixir of life to keep him alive.
So according to Wikipedia,
Okay.
which is not a great source, there's only been one groundhog named Phil, and he has a secret elixir of life that keeps him.
So he's been around
Going.
for a century and a half.
But groundhogs are
I
hard
love
to tell
it.
apart, so
Yeah.
I mean they could all pass as Phil.
Yeah, I'm surprised he could see anything. No wonder he didn't see his shadow. His eyesight's gone.
Also, he's dead. That's why he didn't see it because he's dead.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
That is funny, but you don't think about these things.
No, you don't.
Huh.
No.
That's nutty. Okay.
Do we have an ad for today?
I do have an ad for
What are we
today.
gonna kick
well,
this
I
show
went to
off
the
with?
80s.
Oh, I love the 80s.
I love the 80s too. You're probably going to start see. Look at this. Cheryl. Yeah. Okay, so I remember I'm a cover girl.
So
I don't know
the words across her face are because this was taken off the internet. We don't have the rights to it.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yes. So just to know, that's why there's words on her face. Those were not there originally.
Yeah. Yeah, that look, okay, the look that's good to your skin. Clean makeup, cover girl. See, I remember cover girl. I mean, it's still around. It's been, the look is pure cover look girl. It's the look that makes you feel good about looking good. Not just coverage, not just color, but a look that brings out the best in you. There's no other makeup like it. Cover girl, clean makeup. The look that's good to your skin. Clean makeup, cover girl.
I like
The world's best self-serving face makeup available now at select supermarkets and high street stores.
So CoverGirl's been around a long time.
It has
I
been.
think their most famous marketing ploy, though, was the Easy Breezy Beautiful CoverGirl line.
Easy breezy.
I still say
I
that.
still say easy breezy.
Yeah, Easy Breezy Beautiful. I say the
Yeah.
whole thing. My kids will be like, "Well, that was easy," and I'll be like, "Yeah,
Easy breezy, beautiful CoverGirl."
And they're
It
probably
really
looking at me
is.
like, "I have no idea why."
I wonder
my
when
mom
that
says
came
the
out.
things
I
that
wonder
she
when the
said.
easy breezy, beautiful CoverGirl.
That was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s, yeah. But
Yeah.
in that one, who was that model? What was her name? Cheryl Teagues.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. Easy Breezy Beautiful.
Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. But yeah, I just thought that was a really neat. I thought that was a neat ad, and Tammy Harris, a friend of mine, has been going through all of their stuff, and she's been purging out stuff. So she's actually gave me I've got a whole box of 1980s magazines. So
Oh, wonderful.
we're fixing
Thank
to
you,
hit
Tammy.
the 80s. Well, you don't realize
Yeah.
the 80s has been a while.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I graduated in 85.
Right.
24, 34, 35, 30. Oh my gosh.
I know. So.
Oh my gosh, I've been
in
out of high school 39 years.
I think you're so old. I think I said this on the 90s episode.
I'm basically Groundhog's Day. I'm like Pluxy, Wuxy, whatever his
Like
name
when
is.
I was a kid, we had 50s Day at school, and it was a big thing. The 1950s, we all dressed up 1950s, and it
I
seems like
know.
so far past. Like it was a long, long time ago in my mind. That was in the mid 80s, and we were celebrating the mid 50s. That's only 30 years. So nowadays, the 80s are what the 50s were to me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like the kids
Yeah,
that are in
kinda
school
do, yeah.
probably feel like the 80s were so long
Yeah.
ago.
I've been out of high school. This will be 39 years. Next year is my 40th.
She can't even say it.
Four.
Try spelling it.
Four. Well, do you want me to spell F-O-U-R-T-Y?
No. F-O-R-T-Y.
F-O-R-T-Y. Oh, yeah, the spelling, the English police. She's really the most horrible person when it comes to it. You cannot stand anything to be. Mrs. Goldstein would be proud of you.
She would, and I'd do it for her.
I love Mrs. Gold, my 6th grade teacher, Mitzi Goldstein. Love,
I never
love,
had
love.
her as a teacher, but I do.
You
love
missed the boat.
her.
She was a great teacher. I love Mrs. Goldstein. I talk about the teachers we had at Lincoln School. They were wonderful. And even when I was in high school all those years ago, we had the best. Florida High School in the 80s had the best male teachers. We had a whole slew. It was mainly most of the teachers at the high school were
male.
And they were phenomenal.
That's good.
Very few women teachers, actually.
I feel like Florida High School still to this day has a really good has really good teachers.
Mm-hmm. They do. I think they do. I think they do too. Mm-hmm. It's been a while, but yeah, sometimes but now it's like you're losing that. It's so funny because once you get out of high school, then you kind of forget like the people behind you. Then you have kids, so then you revisit everything, and now you know everybody in the community, you know all the kids and stuff like that, and then your kids, you're empty nested. It's like, I don't know, but Jim's at the school. He knows all the kids now. He's been subbing, and he actually went subbing full time at the high school.
Wow!
Because one of the ag teacher had a baby.
Right.
So
that's what Carissa said.
She's been taken off. So Jimmy Jam's been at the high school.
I
think it's about because he has to get up. He has to get up and put on his 1970s
suit.
I wish Carissa had Jim for a teacher.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't. Womp womp.
I bet she's sad.
She probably is sad. She did have him as a sub a few times before he took that full-time subbing job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. Subbing would be. It's so funny because like when he subs at the elementary school, which is not very often, then he wears like sweatpants and stuff because they're little and crazy. When he subs at the junior high, he wears Hawaiian shirts, and when he subs at the high school, he wears all these 1970s. He wore one yesterday. He had one on. They were like polyester blue pants, and he had his bow tie on, and he has white patent shoes.
Oh, of course he does.
Of course.
Why wouldn't he?
And he came home for lunch, and Jack and Joanna were at the house. And Jack, my son Mac is a farmer, and Jack, his son, is always wearing Carhartt and that stuff. And Jim came in, and Jack went, "Papa, why you dressed like that?" And he was like, "Well, I'm subbing." And Jack was like, "Why do you have Yaya shoes on?" He just like, "Well, honey, it's Papa's a fashion statement."
He is a fashion statement. Yes, he is. Yeah.
But anyway, but I don't even know where we're going with that. But we're going to take a commercial break.
Okay, we'll come back and talk about John Tanner.
Let's talk about the governor.
Okay,
be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are discussing John R. Tanner.
Yeah.
He was the 22nd governor. Well, yeah,
22nd or 21st?
Well, my notes say 22nd governor of Illinois.
Well, I don't know what my notes say because guess who hasn't got them out? That would be me.
Okay. This guy was born on April the 4th of 1844. So we're going way back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he grew up on a farm in Warwick County, Indiana. Do you know where that is?
Well, does it have anything to do with Laura Ingalls?
It does not.
Okay.
I cannot tie that to Laura Ingalls, nor can I tie it to Downton Abbey. So we're just out of luck on that one this episode. Okay.
Yeah,
hopefully I can find a reference later in the show.
I'm not going to lie, but I mean, seriously, when we get to the genealogy of his life, it was confusing. There's a lot of Johns and Johns and Johns and Johns.
Yeah, everyone's a John. So we might kind of try to steer away from that. But anyway, this article on John says that he was a remarkable boy and had a very bright mind and great courage.
I've got that he was the 21st governor. What'd you say?
Well, I thought on my other notes it said 21st, but then on this article it says 22nd.
I don't know, but this is what
I
says
even
21st.
it. Okay, I really think he was the 21st because that's on more things than not. Let's see if this says. I have some of my notes pulled up on my phone. Yeah.
While she's looking,
it was the 21st, and he
21st?
He was in office from January 11th of 1897 to January the 14th of 1901. So he served for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Do we have a picture of John?
We do have a picture.
Let's go ahead and show a picture of him while we talk a little bit about him.
Yeah.
Here we go. Nice looking feller.
That is John Tanner, the 21st governor of Illinois.
Yes. So, let's see. He was a remarkable boy, bright mind, great courage. He was referred to as a leader of great distinction, even from his boyhood. He was kind of a leader. Some kids are. He was from the beginning. So his education was just common schools in his native state and in Indiana. And I think he probably would have liked to have went to school more than he did. I don't know that he went full time. It's a little vague on that, but he did follow in the footsteps of his father and became a prosperous, esteemed farmer. His farm consisted of 400 acres of valuable land, according to records of the 1860s. So back then, that was a pretty good-sized farm, I do believe.
Right. I would say so, yeah.
In 1863, he enlisted as a private in the 98th Regiment Illinois Volunteers and served until June of 1865, when he was transferred to the 61st Illinois. And then he was mustered out of service at Springfield in September of the same year. So, Civil War veteran right here.
Yeah.
So, this John R. Tanner was originally from Indiana. He was raised on a farm, and he went to the Civil War.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he would, they were Union soldiers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they were Union soldiers.
Soon after the war, John R. married a lady by the name of Ingram. This is all that was written. I don't have her first name here. I might have it on another article.
I don't
Let me
have.
see if
Yeah,
my internet one.
Let me see.
Well, yeah. So this article,
because he was married more than once.
Her name was Loretta Ingraham, so it wasn't really Ingram. This one I'm referring to has several typos on it. So Loretta Ingraham was his first wife, and they lived near Flora. And they had saved money from his service in the war and bought a 40-acre farm near the Rusk Schoolhouse. And Rusk Schoolhouse, I do not know exactly where Rusk Schoolhouse is, but I do know exactly where Rusk Cemetery is.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's probably...
The school and the cemetery are in the same proximity there.
Okay, so that would be just a few miles north of Flora and a few miles south of Louisville.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of right in
So
this.
him and Loretta settled down there, and they were going to lead a nice, quiet life in the country in Clay County, but that was not to be.
That didn't happen.
That was not to be because he got into a bit of trouble.
A little bit.
Little bit trouble.
A little bit of trouble.
Little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into his trouble.
And I love the fact that he was married, like they were married on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he got married on Christmas.
I like that idea.
And looking at some of his lineage, he also had one of his brothers was married on Christmas Day. So maybe they had a love of Christmas like you do.
I hope they did.
Yeah, why else would it? I mean, how many people get married on Christmas Day?
I don't know. Yeah. But maybe they did it because the family was all in town.
Maybe. You might be right on that one.
Okay, so I'm going to move over to this other.
Let's go to the other article, talk about.
Yeah.
So I found that this was an interesting article.
Okay.
So she's going to go through all of her crazy notes because she's
Yeah,
got a
I
bunch
have
of
notes on like 50 different things on this. Okay, so this is kind of talking about the end of his life. So his trouble. Okay, I don't know how to start this.
It's kind of like, yeah. Okay, do you want me to start out a little bit?
I can start here. I think
Okay,
this is
go
where
ahead.
it starts. So
Go ahead.
he was a farmer, and he got into a quarrel with a man named Tom Erskine. Mm-hmm. And he was a neighboring farmer. Okay? Tom's brother had married John's sister.
Right.
So they weren't related, but their siblings were by marriage. But the quarrel grew into a deadly feud, and I said deadly.
Seriously.
So you can probably guess where this is going because we know John went on to become governor later in his life. Mm-hmm. So what happened to poor Tom Erskine? Well, John killed him. That's what happened. That's the short story. But, yeah. So each of these men were expecting the other to begin active hostilities. I guess they thought they were going to come shoot each other. And each prepared to defend his own life.
It all started with transaction of land.
Yes.
So we're basically having a land feud.
Yes.
We're having a land feud.
One day, the two men met in the presence of several neighbors. Mm-hmm. Tanner had been working on the roads after the fashion of farmers who pay their taxes by labor and was returning to his home. So he's headed home. He's been out working on the roads. He's headed home. He was in a wagon with several other men when he met Erskine, who carried an axe. Angry words passed. I hate you. I hate you. You
stole my land.
You stole my land.
You stole my land.
Who do
I
you
want my
think
land
you
back.
are?
Who
I'm
do you
going to
think
kill
you
you.
are?
Angry words passed, and Erskine threw the axe at Tanner.
So he started it.
He started it. He
He
didn't throw the first punch. He threw the first axe.
threw the first axe. And Tanner must have been like the Matrix.
So what did Tanner do? Tanner
He ducks.
drew a pistol.
Yeah.
He ducked, missed the axe, and then drew his pistol, and he fired.
So, but one of the important things is his driver was Joe Martin was driving the a friend of his, Joe Martin, was driving the buggy. So when the axe was thrown, Tanner ducked, and that axe hit Martin.
Oh, I don't have that in my notes. Was he okay?
Yeah, let me read a little bit about this, and let me tell you this, because this is very interesting. Joe Martin, the driver of the team, reined up at the gate. An exchange of words between Tom Erskine and John Tanner followed. Erskine picked up an axe, which was standing against a tree near the gate, and threw it at Tanner. In the meantime, Martin had slapped the team, which had begun to move the wagon. Tanner, seeing the axe coming, dropped to his knees. The handle hit him in the head, but the blade struck loose between his shoulder blades, causing a terrible wound from which later he died.
The driver ended up dying?
Yes. So Tanner was in the wagon with Joe Martin and George Lewis.
So Erskine was also a killer.
He was a killer because, so what happened? The handle
but he didn't
hit
live to see it.
No, but the blade struck loose between the shoulder blades, causing a terrible wound from which he later died. Now get this, it's not over yet. This is interesting. At the same time that Erskine threw the axe, Tanner drew a revolver and fired. The ball hitting Erskine in a rib, which did but little damage. Get this, it gets interesting here. After hitting Lewis, the axe fell to the ground. And after being hit, Erskine sprang to the axe and was again about to throw it
when sounds
Tanner,
like a movie.
Right, when Tanner fired again, this time hitting Erskine in the left temple. So this Erskine throws the axe, the handle breaks, hits Tanner, hits Lewis, causing a bad wound that kills him later
bleeding
on.
Like crazy.
Right.
Chaos is ensuing. The smoke, when this was, they were using black powder to shoot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I have that it was a pistol. You have a revolver. But either way, the smoke, when the smoke cleared, because when you fire with black powder, it's very smoky and you can't see much.
It really, like if you, Erskine. I mean, he's already thrown one axe and missed the guy he was aiming for and hit somebody. But it doesn't. I'd say Erskine was.
I think he was a one mean dude.
I think he was mean because he's like, oh crap, I missed him again. So I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. But
I don't think he was a good man.
So anyway, Erskine died from the second gunshot wound into the temple. And
I would imagine it probably killed him immediately right then, don't you think?
I think. So then what did Tanner do?
Fled.
He ran away.
Got to flee.
He hightailed it out. He leaped from the wagon, and that night he disappeared from Clay County. Mm-hmm. Okay, so at the time, the sheriff of Clay County was a man by the name of Walton Finch. He was a small, quiet man who had served in the war and as an officer of the Illinois Regiment. Sheriff Finch was determined to find Tanner and bring him to trial. And he began a hunt for his fugitive. Keep in mind, this fugitive is the future governor of Illinois. Maybe this is where Illinois governors started to go downhill, and we've had so many that went to prison.
Was he? Yeah, maybe he was, yeah.
Okay, so Tanner's family also disappeared soon after the fight. Okay, 8 or 9 months go by. Mm-hmm. And just the sheriff is just quietly working away and trying to get some clues. And he obtains his first clue from some papers that were filed for record in a county clerk's office in Kansas. Did you find this story?
I didn't find this story.
Okay,
no, go ahead.
This is interesting. And he finally became convinced that Tanner was hiding in Bates County, Missouri, which must be right there by the Kansas line, okay? So Sheriff Finch seems like when we talked about Sheriff Cogswell, like they always get their man. I think Finch was like, I always get my man kind of guy.
So too.
Hey, I don't care if it takes me 9 months down the road and I travel a state away. I'm going to get this guy.
I'm getting him no matter what.
So Sheriff Finch gets the necessary papers and he goes to Bates County, and he he got off the train at a small town and secured the assistance of a constable who knew the roads. Okay, so he found him a friend from the area that knew the roads and said, I need to use you as a guide. So this was at nighttime. It was pitch dark. And he's like, I want you to lead me to this man. So they drove at night out to a sparsely settled district. Okay, not very many people, way out in the country. Tanner was living in a log house at the edge of a heavy forest. Okay,
I'm going to stop you right there because we're going to take a commercial break. We're stopping right at the part where Tanner,
the suspense,
was
this
living.
Should be a TV movie. Okay,
yeah, it really should actually.
All right,
maybe that's where our claim to fame should be.
That's right.
We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
With Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about John R. Tanner, the 21st governor of Illinois. He was a man that lived in Clay County for some time, and he has killed a man.
But in self-defense.
Self-defense. But he ran. And the sheriff of Clay County, a man by the name of Finch, is in Bates County, Missouri, tracking him down, okay? And he has gotten this constable from this area of Missouri to lead him and guide him to where he needs to go. They find a log house at the edge of a heavy forest, and they stopped right before reaching a point from which the rattle of their wheels could be heard from the cabin.
And you know how dark it is? There's no lights out.
No. Pitch dark out there
black.
in the woods in Missouri. And if you know anything about Missouri, it's very hilly, very woody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, stopping before reaching a point. Okay, we got that. The sheriff and his guide left the vehicle and proceeded on foot. Before them was a cabin that barely peeped out of the woods into the clearing, and the back door opened upon a thicket that would hide instantly one who might need to fly from the house to the depths of the forest. So this man had built his cabin with
a thicket.
A thicket is like an area of like thick, like tall grass.
So like he like literally builds it right on the edge.
He built it to where his house was mainly in the woods, and the back door opened into a little area where he could just run out the back door and be out there in the woods, and which he probably knew his way through, but no one else would.
I'm telling you, Tanner was smart.
And yeah, he was smart, but he was outsmarted here.
He was outsmarted.
Okay, so this is what happens. Another door of the cabin faced the clearing, and there was no light in the cabin, and everything was quiet, indicating that the occupant had gone to bed. By this time, it is late at night. The sheriff sent the constable to guard the back door, and he himself went to the front door, revolver in hand. He knocked lightly and then stepped to one side. Soon the door was opened, and a man in night attire opened the door, and the muzzle of the revolver was pressed against the man's chin, and he said, and I quote, "John Tanner, I want you."
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And John Tanner replied, All right,
you got
me. I surrender. Okay, so he surrendered. The sheriff whistled for the constable, and they called to everyone else in the cabin to make a light in the house. Hey, if you're in there, turn the light on.
Turn some lights on.
And then they all stepped inside, and still holding his prisoner under the cover of the pistol, the sheriff said to Mrs. Tanner, "If you have anything to shoot with, I want it."
Oh.
So turn over your guns. Mrs. Tanner took a revolver from under her pillow and handed it to him. Tanner admitted that he had been taken by surprise and regretted his carelessness in going to the door unarmed. So he's like,
"Oh, how funny."
Yeah, I'm super surprised, and I'm super mad at myself that I went to the door without being armed, because I would have shot you too, Sheriff.
Because the thing about it is kind of interesting, because like he's got this dude's on the run, and somebody like at the wee hours of the moment, deek, 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 knocks on your door, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm tired, man."
Yeah, he's out of it.
I love it. That's great.
Okay, so this goes on to say, yet that quiet arrest at midnight at the door of the lonely cabin in the Missouri backwoods was the best thing that ever happened to John R. Tanner.
Absolutely.
And marked the turning point in his life, the point where he ceased to be an outlaw and a fugitive. Under compulsion, he turned his face once more toward the world.
I've got a little bit about the actual trial here.
Okay, yeah, you go on.
Okay, so Tanner fled the country, but was found and returned in chains to the jail at Louisville, our beautiful jail up there
that we've talked about on other episodes.
We talk about that. That's why we need to restore that building. The governor was there in cuffs.
Yeah. He was placed on trial for his life.
He was. He soon gained the confidence of the jailer and was allowed to come and go as he pleased.
Oh,
and took most of
weird.
his. Get this. Oh no, this guy was a smoozer. He soon gained the confidence of the jailer and was allowed to come and go as he pleased, and took most of his meals with the sheriff. See, because
now they're friends.
Yeah, because like the sheriff lived where the jail's out. The jail and all the cells are out like in the same house as the where the sheriff and his family lived. The trial finally came off, but Tanner's chief witness, George Luce, had since died from that axe wound.
Yes, he had.
Erskine's witnesses were his brothers-in-law, and the case against Tanner was so strong that he was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 3 years in the penitentiary.
Oh, my.
Okay, here we go. However, a second trial was granted. Joe Martin had been, the other guy that was driving with him, Joe Martin had been kept from the first trial by force or threat, but was present.
Probably by these bullies.
Exactly, but was present at the second one. At this trial, the jury was out less than 30 minutes, and the verdict came back not guilty.
Not guilty.
So, yeah, he comes back. He's in our jail. Must be a chatty Cathy, becomes friends with the sheriff.
Yep.
Railroaded the first time, and then the sheriff was probably like, okay, wait a minute, this is not.
Yeah, so that trial was held in March.
Okay, so this is an interesting fact. At the next election, John Tanner, was elected sheriff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And served 4 years, or rather 1 term, on the Republican ticket.
Yeah, so his trial for murder or manslaughter was held in March, but by the fall of that year, and this year is 1869, so not very much time had passed, and suddenly he's on the ballot to be sheriff.
He's sheriff.
Because all this time he remained friends with Finch. Yeah. And I guess Finch, maybe he wanted to retire. I don't know. I don't think that they ran against each other, but Finch was leaving the office, and John Tanner was convinced to run for county sheriff. Yeah, so.
Gotta love this man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have a little picture here of the ballot.
Oh, I want to see it. You got a picture?
Well, you won't be able to read it. It's so tiny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was on there for sheriff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's why I didn't share it either. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
blurry.
Oh, I thought maybe you...
No,
okay.
It's no.
Sometimes you just can't find that stuff.
I couldn't even enlarge it and make it not blurry. So, yeah.
So now we're sheriff. Now we've got a little taste of politics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Walton Finch, the sheriff, he moved to Ottawa, Kansas, and became the proprietor of the Daily Republican newspaper. This is a tiny tidbit.
Was it
tidbit
Finch
on the,
or Finch?
Finch. I don't know what I said, but it's Finch, like the bird.
Like the bird?
Like the little birdie.
Huh.
Yeah. So,
I'm just making little notes, so I'll have it in here. Because nothing said who the sheriff was that went and found him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it was Finch.
Love it.
Let's see. So he was the sheriff for a while. Then he was circuit clerk for a while. Then in 1876, he was appointed master in chancery. What is chancery? I do not know what that means.
I don't know what that is.
It makes me think of sorcery, and I don't think that's correct. So chancery. Okay, and then in 1880, he was elected to the state senate over a man by the name of Dr. Shirley of Xenia. So both people running for state senate, one was from Louisville and one was from Xenia. That's weird.
That's weird. Dr. Shirley may be somebody we might want to do.
Yeah, so
write him
anyway,
down.
John Tanner defeated Shirley by a majority of nearly 400 votes. He was appointed a member of the state central committee of the Republican Party in 1874. And let's see, him and his wife did have 2 children. I don't know if I went on to say that. But his...
let's see. What do I find here?
See.
Oh, well, let's see, because, which wife is he married to now?
Okay, so he was married to Loretta. I don't have notes on when
I do. Let me go through that real quick. So John Tanner was married first on December 25th, 1866 to Loretta, daughter of Barton B. Ingraham of Clay County and granddaughter of Henry and Angeline Ingraham. Loretta died in 1887.
Okay.
So where are we at here? And he then married in 1896 Cora Edith, daughter of Turney English of Springfield. So his next wife would have been
Cora, and I have some notes on her.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about her. So the woman that when he murdered Everett was his first wife, Loretta.
Yeah, Loretta she saw him in his bad days and she saw him in his good days.
And saw him in his good days. And she died in 87. But then he didn't marry again until 96.
Okay.
So he didn't marry for 19 years later.
Yeah, so this Cora and him, she was his wife while he was governor. and they traveled extensively during his time as governor. And they attended the Washington, D.C. inauguration of President William McKinley. And Cora was described as a queen ruling over Washington society. Apparently, she was really something.
Wow, that's interesting.
So she would receive countless invitations each day that they were in Washington, D.C. Everyone wanted to hang out with her. She was the cool kid on the block, and she received detailed attention at each Chicago hotel that she would visit. She would be visited by senators, cabinet members, members of the diplomatic corps, and even judges of the Supreme Court. Now it's getting a little weird.
That's weird.
All these other men in office were coming to visit her.
Because we're talking, this is 1890s, people.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, her marriage to Tanner was, however, brief because in my page kind of cuts that off. I'll have to find that on another paper. 1901. Just 4 months after his term as governor expired, Tanner contracted a terminal respiratory illness. His doctor ordered blocks of ice to be taken to his room at the Leland Hotel. Cora's niece, her name was Cricket Buck. I like the name Cricket. It's kind of cute.
Cricket? I like it. Cricket Buck.
I wasn't there in the 80s or 90s on one of the soap operas a character by the name of Cricket?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Was summoned to come sing for the ailing former governor. They're like, he's doing terribly. I think he needs ice and someone to sing to him.
We need ice and we need a song.
It's not funny, but it's funny.
It's not funny.
What else can you do?
I don't think he's gonna be mad at us for laughing. That's funny.
That's funny. I don't care.
That's funny. I don't care.
Okay. So Cora was at her husband's side when he died in 1901, and the funeral was attended by nearly 30,000 people.
John Tanner's
funeral. His body lay in state in the rotunda of the Capitol in Springfield, covered by the state flag. His funeral procession included 66 honorary pallbearers.
Wow.
Cora Tanner went on to live to the age of 86, and she never remarried. She died on June the 1st of 1946.
Really? Now, did we talk about how many children did he have?
He had 2 children, I think, with the first wife. I don't know that he had any with Cora. I'm not sure. At the time of her death, an article in the Illinois State Register stated that she was a woman, this is a quote, a woman of rare charm and devoted to the ideals of gracious living.
Wow.
In her later years, she personified the fine spirit of her times as a real blessing and benediction, truly a legacy of fragrant memories.
Okay,
everybody that met this woman adored her.
Let's take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and I want to let's look up some stuff on this score. She has to be something special. I'm interested in her lineage. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and finish talking about Mr. Tanner.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
I'll talk a little bit about. We're back. We're back. Okay, so welcome back. We're doing some research on Cora because we kind of discovered that she's something really special. So I found a picture of her, and I'm going to show it here in just a minute. But I'm going to talk a little bit about John's time as a governor. He was the first governor in the country to be openly neutral in labor disputes. Gaining national notoriety for his actions in a series of coal mine disputes. The Spanish-American War was looming, and he was the only governor to raise and combat equip a National Guard unit of African-American soldiers led by African-American officers. So at that time, he was doing great things. His administration was capable and efficient. He placed the state on a sound financial footing and passed significant legislation. However, he was constantly at odds with Chicago's political leaders, both Democratic and Republican, a feud that came to be symbolized by his signing of the famous Allen Bill, which gave control of Chicago's inner-city transportation network to a corrupt financier named Charles Yerkes. I don't know much about that, but I think he was trying to do good things. But
I think he was.
As always, Chicago forever and ever has been at odds with the rest of the state. I am confident of that. Yeah. Tanner declined to seek a second term as governor. It's not like he ran and lost. He just chose not to do it again. Instead, choosing to oppose the renomination of his former political ally Shelby Cullom as U.S. Senator. So he went on to do other things in politics, but he was kind of done with being a governor. I think he'd had a little bit of it, and that was enough.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty interesting. Ty, were you able to pull up the picture of Cora, Tanner?
Let's look at the one you have here. Let's take a look at that one. This is the mausoleum. I apologize, the picture's small on short notice, but this is in Sangamon County near Springfield. This is the cemetery, and this is the mausoleum that both him and Cora are buried in.
And when he passed away, that was $25,000. So you're talking back in the he died in 1901. So that mausoleum cost $25,000. Yeah,
that's fancy.
That's pretty cool. That's where they're. We've got some time left, so let's talk. Do you have a Cora's picture up there? Okay, so this is John Tanner's second wife, Cora.
Beautiful.
Cora English Tanner's family has deep roots in the history of the United States, and she traced her ancestry back to the early 1600s. She was a daughter of Turney English, a prominent Springfield real estate businessman, and a descendant of an early American family. Her mother was Jane Pinchion, the daughter of an officer in the British Army. One grandfather was Lindsay English, a pioneer who took part in the Black Hawk War. The other grandfather was General James Turney, one of the early circuit judges of Illinois. She was a cousin and close friend of Mrs. Willoughby Walling of the fashionable old Drexel Boulevard in Chicago. So here's their ties.
Okay.
Whose father, William English, had been the Speaker of the Indiana House of Representatives, U.S. Congressman, and vice presidential candidate in 1880 with Democratic General Winfield Scott Hancock against Republicans James Garfield and Chester Arthur. Indianapolis's English Square was named after that branch of the family. Among other noted relatives were Dr. Norman Green, an early president of Western Union Telegraph Company, Army General James Barnett Fry, Army Colonel Daniel McClure, who had been Assistant Paymaster General, Governor Pete Turney, and the Senator Hopkins Turney of Tennessee, and Judge W.B. Hoke of Louisville, Kentucky.
So basically, she had ties to lots of money.
Oh, man.
She was old money, and she was beautiful. No wonder all these other people came.
No wonder,
she seeked her out or whatever, because she was not only pretty, but she was smart and she had money.
Listen to this. Cora English was educated at Springfield High School and Betty Stewart Institute. She continued her studies abroad. She sailed to Scotland with Dr. and Mrs. Walling when Dr. Walling was appointed consul general to Edinburgh by President Grover Cleveland.
Wow. So she knew somebody that was appointed by Cleveland, and they went over to Scotland. I mean, she's well-traveled, well-versed. She was a lady.
She traveled widely both in England and on the continent, remaining abroad 2 years.
Wow.
While in Europe, Miss English made an extensive study of German language, which enabled her to translate a number of volumes into English. One newspaper reported that her translations received praise from many cities of literature. Together with Consul and Mrs. Walling, she was the recipient of many social attentions, especially in Germany, where they were entertained on board the Dagmar and other warships.
Wow.
The Governor Takes a Bride by John Thomas and Edith English Trotter. Copyright. Okay. The second wife, I'm sorry, that was a different one. Second wife of Illinois Governor John R. Tanner, term 1897 to 1901. They married on December 30th, 1896, 12 days before his inauguration.
Okay, so she was with him basically just through his... because he died not long after he wasn't governor, so she was only his wife during that time.
According to Illinois law, she was the one responsible for him running for governor.
Ah, she's like...
which makes sense.
Moving on up. I got the money to make this happen, honey. And you're going to become a governor.
Yeah, and they didn't have children, but woman...
I do have more information on the children, too.
Wow, yeah, let's do some children. But he didn't have children with Cora.
No children with Cora.
This is with his first wife, Loretta.
His first wife, Loretta, who was
let's
from
talk
Ingraham.
a little bit about that.
Loretta Ingraham. They had 2 children, a daughter named Lulu and a son named James Mack Tanner. And
James Mack?
Yeah.
My son's name's James Mack.
And they have the same birthday, right?
And no, his dad, Mr. Tanner, was born June 5th.
Oh, right.
But then he's named his son James Mack, and I have a James Mack.
Okay.
But I think they're M-A-C-K.
Yeah, M-A-C-K. So in later years, James Mack rendered his father valuable assistance throughout his whole political career by being his secretary. So he worked for his dad. He grew up to work for his dad. And another interesting little tidbit about this is that John Tanner was the first political election time, I don't know what to call it, that they used buttons. You know, back in the day, everybody wore buttons to say who they were voting for, who they supported. Well, John Tanner was the first one to use buttons. The very first campaign.
First advertisement, basically, right?
And it was a picture of him and our president, William McKinley, on it together. And I have a very small picture of it, and I can't share it with you. But there is a button out there, and it says Illinois 1896. It has a picture of McKinley on the left and Tanner on the right, and it says Patriotic Heroes Battalion. I don't know. But it's kind of cool. So they were the first ones to use buttons, and then there's a quote by John Tanner's brother that said everybody was wearing buttons, and it was just kind of crazy that his brother's picture was on everybody. First button campaign we ever had, he said. So
there you go.
Just another little tidbit,
a little Louisville history.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
John Tanner was an interesting guy.
Yeah,
he went from.
From
farmer to murderer.
Okay, and let's just think about like his second wife, Cora. She was a pedigree. When we were talking about privilege, she was born privileged.
Yes.
Like she was born in a very strong, powerful political family, both sides, mom and dad. John Tanner was a farmer, a fugitive. That is an amazing story.
Yeah, moving on up.
I can't believe there's not been a movie
down
made.
Here and he went,
and then he went, plummet, plummet, plummet.
Yeah.
Impressive story. Yeah. That should be a movie.
Let's make it one.
Let's make a movie about that.
I tell you, I think I've said that on another episode. Like we could just be writing scripts left and right and have our own network.
Yeah.
See, the dream just gets bigger.
That is an interesting. We might be onto something with that because that's an interesting.
It's a good story.
That's a great story.
It's a true story. And that just proves my point that everybody has a story.
Wow.
And there's so many things that happened right here at home that nobody thinks about anymore because they think it's just a very quiet community and but there's so much history here. Everyone just needs to know it.
Oh, it's the greatest. See, that's a great story we need to take to the high school.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Start teaching some kids.
We're trying to be teachers now.
I don't want to be the teacher, but
I don't want to be a
I
teacher
do think
either.
they should share some of the things that we talk about.
I think so
to the
too.
next generation. So
Okay, so this quote that I'm going to do today is by Mary Pickford.
okay, she was an actress. And she was in one of my favorite Christmas movies, right? She was in what is it? The George Bailey.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Wasn't she Mary? And
I think so.
Or no, that was
that's
Donna
not
Reed.
her.
No, that was
No,
Donna
that's
Reed.
Donna Reed.
Mary Pickford.
That
she was
does
in
sound
something.
familiar.
I have to Google it.
We'll
She was
find
in
that
something
out
I
over
watched.
when we go eat lunch. Okay, so this is the perfect quote to end on, considering we're just talking about John Tanner. If you had made mistakes, even serious ones, there is always another chance for you. What we
Amen.
call failure is not the falling down, but the staying down.
Yep.
Now, that's definitely
Fall down, but you got to get back up again.
That's I get knocked down.
To
but I
quote
get up
Chumbawamba
again.
from the
But
19
Chumbawamba gonna
Chumbawamba.
keep me down. That's yours. Are you surprised that I came up with that 90s song?
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. So that was
So
perfect
true.
because John Tanner was here, knocked down.
He got back up again. And
ruled the world.
Yes.
Yeah, ruled
he did
the world.
good things. Turned
That's
his life
pretty
around.
interesting. Yeah, I like that.
So anyway, yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
And as always, we are on Wabash Channel 100 daily at 11 a.m. Our new shows air on Thursdays and Fridays. You can also watch us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey. If you have trouble getting there, just on the homepage on YouTube, you just type in By the Way with Beth and Stacey, and we should come up. And all of our episodes are on there. New ones are added on Mondays. And we would really like you to like and follow us on Facebook. So join us there. You can always reach out to us on email, by the way, with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com.
And if you've got a button of John Tanner, I hold on to it.
Yeah, it's probably worth a lot of money.
After you invite Beth and I into your home.
Yeah, or just at least send us email us a picture of it.
We need to put this out too. It's about time to do another house episode.
That's right.
We got to start doing some house episodes. So once the weather's, if there's a knock on your door and you see these two beautiful faces, let us in.
I already have in mind a couple of places I want to go knock on the door. So.
Yeah, that was fun. Interesting show.
Yeah, it was a good one. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you will join us next time. And until then, we'll see you later.
God bless you and have a great day.